Alright, what's up guys, it's Spiderwolf back for another JJKPhantomparade video. So today we're going to go over should you summon for this brand new teen red Nanami is going to be coming out later tonight, as well as for this recollection that will be rated up on his banner. But before we get started, I would greatly appreciate if this could drop a like, comment, subscribe. Would really help me out trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before another year. But with that being said, let's get into this. So as you guys can see, you know how we usually do this. Got brand new Nanami here. He should be coming out in a couple hours after this video does get uploaded. If not, he'll probably be already available to summon. I have been hearing some stuff around though that you may or may not want to summon for him. This bit also more so for Sukuna, just because of the fact that Global is getting really close to first anniversary. We're probably gonna get something huge there. Same thing for JP, you know, because I'm assuming they're gonna be merged up. But basically, we should be getting some big and better stuff very soon. So this is a case where you may want to skip, or you may want to at least wait, because he does leave on the 25th, so you do have a bit of time to decide. I would say if you don't have enough to pity any character, maybe just do like a few, because we'll go over him, right? We'll go over him, but and I'll let you guys know what I think fully, but at least that's what stuff I have been hearing around. Of course though, we're getting a story event that specifically is tied to this Nanami, which has this new recollection here. So we'll take a look at that as well. Most likely this will have this should have a free 10 roll for Nanami, which is pretty cool. But you will have to, since it is what is this, a lottery event, right? Yeah, it's a lottery event. So since it's a lottery event, you will have to do the clear the 7th box or whatever, and then you'll get you should have enough by that point to get your free 10 roll for the Nanami banner. But some of you guys may get lucky and get them for free. Now going to the tier list here, Nanami is considered a triple S support character, same tier as the other Shokos, as the main expansion Gojo, and as well as Choso, which Choso is actually double role. He's a really good support and a really good DPS character. Sukuna is also quickly pivoting to Sukuna again. He is he's a really good DPS character, but at the same time, it's also really good for blue, right? There is a strong case that he could be getting we could have a better character coming out very soon that could replace him. Heck, I wouldn't even be surprised if we get another Sukuna for Shibuya. I could see that may potentially happening. We'll have to wait and see. If we do get another Sukuna for Shibuya, I'm gonna imagine it's the one where he has like the bow. I'm assuming it's probably gonna be that version, but I could be wrong. But that's just like the one I'm thinking that it could possibly be. Anyways, let's actually look at Nanami here and see what exactly is our guy doing. Also, he is quote-unquote limited for a couple months or whatever, but then eventually he will be added to standard banner, just as all the other characters previously have been added, besides like the movie exclusive collab characters. So he does have stats both in physical and jutsu. He starts out with 30 cursed energy. He's considered a Tokyo Jutsu High Year 1 student. He doesn't have any characteristics and no Black Flash. Now skill 1 here, called Sever, at level 1, deals melee combined damage of 34.7% physical and 34.7 jutsu to one enemy. Critical hit rate large, so he has a higher chance to crit on this. It also gives you an additional effect. Increase own critical hit rate by 30% for 3 turns, so that's pretty nice. And then if of course you do level it up, you do actually get more damage. Now it's 50% physical and jutsu, and you now get 45% crit rate, so it's honestly not a bad buff. You get more crit out of this. Not sure why this has changed skill here. Skill 2, alright. A little bit weird. Now, skill 2 here, combination, it costs 20 cursed energy. At level 1, you deal 74.7 melee physical damage to one enemy 3 times, or 3 hits, so the total will be 74. But you have a chance, 3 chances basically to crit on each of those hits. And then basically you increase all allies damage dealt by 34.7% for 4 turns, which is actually pretty good. The downside though is that it's only for red characters. So if you're not a red character, you won't get a 34% damage buff for 4 turns. Now at level 10, you're now dealing 150 melee physical damage to one enemy, and then you're now boosting everybody's damage up to 50% for 4 turns, which is actually very strong, because that's all damage physical and jutsu. That's pretty cool. But as I said, the downside is only for red characters. But at the same time, we do have some pretty good options for red. And then Obara, Yuta, Toge, technically red Yuji's not half bad. The main expansion Gojo, so there's some pretty good options for red characters. So not bad in that regard, I'd say. So that's a pretty good skill. And then let's go down. Skill 3, 7 ratio 3. Level 1, costs 30 curse energy. Has a cooldown of 4 turns, which is interesting. But basically what it does is that you increase your own damage dealt by 15% for 1 turn 1 time. You deal melee combined damage of 94.8% taijutsu and 94.8% jutsu to one enemy, and you're guaranteed to perform a critical hit. And then you increase the selected enemy's break damage received by 14.3% for 4 turns, and then you increase all allies damage dealt by 58% for 4 turns, only with the red. So an even bigger damage buff, right? Granted though, it is only for red, right? And also this does have this skill here does have a 4 turn cooldown, so you can't spam this. You can only spam it every 4 turns basically. At level 10 though, you're now dealing 175 physical and jutsu combined damage, and then you're now increasing the enemy's break damage received by 30% for 4 turns, and you're also now giving everybody a 90% damage dealt to all allies if they're red for 4 turns, which is really, really good. Definitely a lot of great stacking here, so that's a really good buff. Yeah, this enemy has really good buffs. Down to this that is limited to red typing, but those are really, really good. Now at level 8, it is 82.9% damage dealt for everybody, and 26.5% increased break damage received to the enemy, but that's still pretty good for level 8. Same thing for level skill 2. Instead you're boosting everybody's damage by 46.6% if they are red. The only reason I'm going back to 8 here is because, you know, sometimes you get some of us might not be able to get skills up to level 10 right away, right? So letting you guys know that's still very, very good to level up the skills regardless as high as you can, right? Because you still get some pretty beneficial stuff out of it. Now ultimate here, ratio technique at level 1 deals melee combined damage of 118 physical and jutsu to one enemy, 2 hits. Increases own damage dealt by 30% for 1 turn 1 time, and then deals melee combined damage of 135% physical and jutsu to one enemy. You're guaranteed to perform a critical hit with this one, and then you increase the selected enemy's red type damage received by 30% for 4 turns, and you also increase all allies damage dealt by 34% for 4 turns for red type. This Nanami basically buffs all red type characters' damage with everything he does basically except skill 1, so that's really, really cool. Very strong. Now at level 10, we're looking at combined damage of 220 physical and jutsu, and then he's increasing his own damage dealt by 30% now, and then he's also dealing 280 physical and jutsu to one enemy, which is guaranteed to crit, and then he's boosting everybody else's damage by 20, or he's making the enemy take an extra 20% damage received by red type allies basically, and then he's also giving you a 50% damage boost for all red type characters, right? So pretty cool there. Yeah, honestly, pretty strong. I'd say in terms of skills to focus on for leveling first to like level 10, I think you want to do the skill 2 first because it's guaranteed and you can stack this one up. Skill 3 is great, but the problem with skill 3 is that you're limited to 4 turns because it does have a 4 turn cooldown. So I would highly recommend focusing on skill 2 first, then probably the ultimate, and then skill 3, and then if you really want to, you can do skill 1. Skill 1's not too crazy because it's only buffing his own damage technically and him just doing damage in general. So you could totally skip on a skill 1 if you really wanted to. But I'd say the order would be skill 2, ultimate, and then skill 3. Just because the fact you can spam skill 2 more with no downsides, and then ultimate because that's the ultimate, and then skill 3 just because like it does have a 4 turn cooldown, but the buffs are pretty good. The combo basically here, he does combined damage of 64% jutsu and physical to one enemy, and then he recovers and the ally recovers 20 cursed energy, so not too bad. Now he has a couple auto skills here. First one here, harass student. At the start of the 6th turn, increase own physical and jutsu stat by 15%. You increase your own critical hit damage of 25%, and you recover your own cursed energy by 30%. That's actually not bad. Now his other one here, critical hit enhancement. When critical hit is performed, increase own physical and jutsu stat by 5% for 4 turns. You increase your own critical hit by 30%, 4 turns cannot be stacked. Reactivate it, when you do reactivate it, it will override the previous turn count, recover own cursed energy by 5. That's actually pretty good, especially if you crit, and since Nanami can crit here pretty easily, as some of the skills do guarantee crits, he will be able to give himself this extra crit rate, this extra physical and jutsu damage buff, and then also recovering his own cursed energy, so that's really cool. Honestly, he's kind of a DPS character with a lot of his skills basically saying the all curse critical rate and whatnot, or guaranteed crit rate. He's kind of a DPS, clearly, you know, more of a support character, a really strong support, mind you. But I'd say, honestly, with all the damaging stuff he does give to himself, I'd personally say maybe he's between like a S to A tier DPS character. Now, mind you, right, the numbers aren't too crazy for the damage, like they're honestly pretty low, like if we're being realistic here, but like, you know, it's not bad, especially with how much he's buffing himself, and technically buffing himself with the buffing all allies damage, right? So he technically will be doing a lot of extra damage just over that. But yeah, I think honestly this Nanami is really, really good. Granted, right, he is limited to the fact that you kind of have to use him only on red teams, but at the same time there are some really good options for red teams to be built in terms of DPS. I mean, don't mention Gojo is another great option. You got Yaga for even more damage, so you definitely have some pretty good picks here. But then again, right, you do have Yaga as a pretty good red support. Granted, he's more of a universal support, but he just happens to be red typing, right? Overall, though, would I recommend someone for this Nanami after seeing what he does? Like I said, I think it kind of depends, because we are getting to like a very critical time in the game to where we might be getting even better characters very, very soon. But at the same time, this Nanami does a lot of great stuff, so I honestly wouldn't blame you, and I would kind of suggest maybe doing a couple 10 rolls and just see if you get lucky or not. I'd say do enough till we can at least get pity tickets out of it. Otherwise, if you don't have like a lot of cubes, or you don't have enough to guarantee and like a little bit over that, like 75, you know, the 75,000 cubes maximum, or I mean minimum, then you may want to consider not summoning and just using a free 10 roll, hoping you get lucky off of that. Otherwise, I wouldn't go too crazy for this Nanami, but he's pretty good. I will probably still try to get him, because I am in a pretty decent spot in the game. But yeah, I think overall he's a really great character. Now let's go over to the recollection bits, right? Because we got two recollection bits here. One of them we can't see is on the tier list here. It's actually the one that's on his banner. It's considered a double S damaging one. The other one I couldn't really find. It might be somewhere here, but I couldn't really find it. But we'll take a look at it regardless. So let's take a look. So the mystery is in the book. It is mixed, you know, physical and jutsu. And basically the effect here, when you use anything, any skills or ultimate, you increase all allies' critical hit damage by 10% for 1 turn at 8 turn cooldown. We do have 1 dupe into it. When the character leaves the field, increase all allies' critical hit damage by 30% for 2 turns. And then finally, we have 3 dupes. You're now increasing all allies' critical hit damage by 15%, so an extra 5%. It's not too crazy, to be honest. Physical and jutsu buffs are more valuable than crit buffs in this game. But if you're using somebody like Nanami that likes to crit, and then maybe there's any other characters in the future that do like to crit, this could be beneficial for them. But at the same time, one of the effects is literally saying that one of the characters has to die, or you could just slap this on a Gojo, like support Gojo. That could also work too. Makes it at least slightly better. But even then, like, getting crit buffs aren't really too crazy for most characters in the game. And even then, this is only buffing the crit damage, so I don't think this is that crazy personally. I would say this is maybe like a B, maybe A tier, but Jujutsu physical buffs are just way better than crit buffs in this game in my opinion, so not that great. I wouldn't really worry about leveling it up. Now, here's the one that's a lot better, the one from the actual summon banner. It is mixed as well. So basically, when you do anything, any skill or ultimate, increase all allies' damage dealt by 15% for 3 turns, only for red type, so a bit limited, but it does have a 6 turn cooldown. With 1 dupe, if your own HP is 30% or lower at the start of the turn only 1 time in battle, you recover your own HP by 30%, so that's pretty handy. And then if you do have it at 3 dupes, you're now increasing all allies' damage dealt by 25% for 3 turns if they are red. That is very, very strong. I can definitely see why it's double S tier, because it is a fat damaging buff of 25% and for a nice juicy 3 turns. Not to mention, there's only going to be 3 turns where you don't have it activated because it is on a 6 turn cooldown, so that makes it like way better. This is really, really good. Granted, just like Nanami, does like it's a bit limited to only red type of characters, but at the same time, for these buffs, I think it's kind of worth it, and you could definitely work around it right when you have more characters. So honestly, pretty good recollection, but definitely a pretty good banner overall. Like, you definitely are getting value off of this banner in my opinion. Plus, support characters do usually last a lot longer in gacha games rather than a DPS character, so this Nanami will be seeing most likely a lot of play in the future for more red characters and more red DPS that we will be getting eventually, right? Which, who knows, maybe we'll get one for Global Anniversary, right? Because we just had green, Nanami's support is red, and then Shoko's green. We haven't had a red DPS yet that's like a triple S, you know, other than Yuta, I guess. But yeah, just saying, maybe we might see. Honestly, I think for Anniversary we could totally see a brand new red DPS character or a brand new yellow DPS character. But then again, since we did get Yuji for first Anniversary on JP, and he was a yellow DPS, maybe they'll give us a red one instead. I'm not too sure. But I think it's probably going to be between yellow and red that should probably be getting the Anniversary character, at least in my opinion, currently. But I could also be wrong. They could just maybe make another blue character that's like even better than Sukuna or something like that. But who really knows, right? Anyways, though, that's pretty much about it. Let me see. There is one thing I do want to mention, but I don't think it's like too important. on the JP, or not JP, if you did sign up for the PC version of the game, you did get the PC client. If you actually just link it up in the Discord server, the official Discord for JJKPhantomparade, they are handing out codes for being in the actually playing on the PC client and signing up for that and saying that yes, I am playing the PC client. The codes aren't that crazy though. It's like basic materials or whatever, so it's not super crazy. But I just want to let you guys know, if you guys were interested in that, there are like basically daily codes. They give you some decent rewards, but not like anything like cubes or whatever, at least for the moment, right? But just want to let you guys know about that. And yeah, I mean, that pretty much wraps things up. So with that being said, if you guys are planning to summon, go look at the summons. Let me know how they go down in the comments down below. I'll probably be making and uploading another video hopefully soon for how my summons went and see if I got lucky or not. And yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna see y'all later. Peace and take care, everybody.